Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And at the outset, if I might ask unanimous consent to put my opening statement in the record. Thank you. And I want to welcome Secretary Raimondo. And I do want to say just a moment before I get to questions that I'm so delighted to have you here today. When the Biden administration took over 3 years ago, this nation really was in the throes of an economic crisis and a public health catastrophe. Your leadership, and with the help of this committee, you have improved our supply chains, you've invested in our communities, you increased manufacturing, helped small businesses grow, and through the appropriations process and legislative efforts like CHIPS, the CHIPS and Science Act, infrastructure, really have been an infrastructure that allows us to be able to do what you said at the outset, is to be competitive and to make America competitive. Let me just, I think you know what question I'm going to start with first. My hope is that we'll have a second round, but that is outbound investment. We've talked about this many times. I think the review mechanism is critically important to the nation's security. And American investments are not advancing the military and, as we just pointed out, as you pointed out, technological capabilities of our adversaries. When we spoke at the hearing last year, you discussed the importance of targeting this policy to investments that directly impact our national security. The administration since then has issued an executive order, create an outbound investment program, prohibit certain U.S. investments in countries of concern involving sensitive technologies and products. It will also require notification for investments involving lower risk products. While I understand Treasury is leading the effort, I understand that the International Trade Administration, ITA, will provide key support through analysis and industry-specific technical expertise. This will be critical to understanding the security risks that are associated with rapidly advancing cutting-edge technologies. The budget requests an increase of 5 million and 12 positions within ITA to create this new office, hire experts with the needed technical expertise. As Treasury continues to work on regulations, can you describe to what extent ITA has already started supporting implementation of the Outbound Investment Executive Order in this year, in 2024?
Yes, thank
Do
you.
you have staff dedicated to this work?
Yes, we do. So first of all, thank you for your persistent focus on this issue. It's incredibly important. It relates to what we were talking about. Technology is one thing, but we can't let them have our money and know-how. We have decided to focus on semiconductors and quantum and AI to make sure that U.S. money isn't funding those initiatives in China. Like you said, Treasury's in the lead. As I understand it, by the end of this year, by the end of this calendar year, the rule will be done, and so we can really start to implement it. What we're doing now in the meantime is building a team, and we've asked for $5 million to continue, to study the industry. So Treasury is obviously in charge of the finances and which funds and how to do the rule, but we are helping them to figure out which pieces of AI should we be most worried about? Which kinds of companies should we be most worried about? When we talk about quantum, what does that actually mean? So we're providing like the commercial, industrial, technological know-how to match up against Treasury's financial know-how. And we're already hard at work doing that.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask, beyond what's included in the budget, is there anything else that you can share with us about your resource needs? How ITA will ramp up outbound investment support activities? And given the type of technical expertise required, do you expect that hiring will be a challenge? So what are the spaces for you where we might be able to help with?
I think I appreciate that. It's a few spaces. One is just data. The kinds of investments we're talking about they're not in public stock market companies. It's private money. It's hard to track, candidly. So any data that we can get access to track these sorts of private investments by us and our allies is very important. So some of that is like buying data sets, buying IT systems. And then the other thing is people. So we need to attract, like we were talking about before, like AI specialists, quantum specialists, not so much scientists, but commercially minded people. You know, like former venture capitalists, for example,
Making the transit.
which is hard. It is hard. But we've done it in the CHIPS program. We have, you know, former investors and such. I think we can do it in ITA, but that's what we're trying to do, and that's the challenge.
There's a final point, is how will ITA anticipate and identify technologies and products that may be needed to add to those covered by the program now? You know, you and I have had the conversation in the past about critical minerals, batteries, et cetera, so forth, but what will be the process with ITA of looking at what we should add to this portfolio?
So one of the other budget requests, and I can't remember the precise number, but we're also asking for additional money for our supply chain management office. I think it's about 12 million that we're asking for in ITA. I will tell you, all members of the committee, when I started as secretary, we were using Excel spreadsheets and getting on the phone with companies to do supply chain tracking. And now we're building a team. We built a team. I'd be happy to model the product we've built for anybody here. It's a bespoke IT system where we can track and monitor our most critical supply chain vulnerabilities. We need to keep building that. We need to be much more proactive instead of proactive, predicting where are we going to have a supply chain problem? Where is China poised to take advantage of us? So that's the direction we're moving into instead of just being reactive, we're out of baby formula on the shelves, react.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for the additional time. Much